lot of us struggle with motivation on the best of days. Relying on motivation, this might need to stop because it is literally a flaky friends. What we need to do is so we're not relying on motivation, we're being disciplined and see your workout as a non-negotiable part of your week, like your kids, like your work meeting, like doing a food shop, like dinner. It's just something that happens, and it's something that you do for yourself, and it's 2 to 3 hours a week, and then once you do it over time, it'll become easier and easier. It's just practice. Hello, I am hoping and praying that everyone can hear me because I'm in a cafe. I have got my headphones on, and that's why I play out the background. These chatting form questions that are better each week. I've got to just like get through a mixture of questions and just general struggles. So I'm going to start with the questions first and then move on to the struggles. This question: do I need to do the exercises in order? They are planned for a reason. Like the way that the workouts put together, there is logic. They're not just random exercises thrown together because obviously anyone could do that, and we know that random exercises get random results. To a certain extent, yes. Try and keep them in order as much as you can, but I know that if the gym is busy, you don't want to be waiting around for equipment. So, for example, this morning when I went to the gym, I had leg press, but it was busy, and it was taking ages. So I did the other leg exercise, and then did another upper body exercise, and then back to leg press. So I just kind of swapped the two, but in the full body workouts, like lower upper. So that's just to give you muscles enough time to recover so that you can push harder in your next like lower body or upper body exercise within the workout. So yeah, if it's taking a really long time for some equipment to be available, feel free to swap it, but try not to swap the whole workout round and try not to like have all your lower together and all your upper together. Obviously it's different if you are just doing like a glutes workout or an upper workout. If you're just doing the upper workout, you could do make sure you don't put all the push exercises together. So that's like shoulder press, chest, and triceps, and don't put all the pull together. So anything that's a row or a bicep exercise. Just so that your muscles are getting long enough to recover so that you can push heavier and get more bang for your buck, basically. So that's that one. Next question: what's a healthy body fat percentage? I mean, the level of questions is honestly like insane. Like how much everyone is getting into it in Powerful, how much you're learning, how much you want to learn. I love. So a healthy body fat percentage, I actually don't know, and the reason I don't know is because I don't really care. It's not important. I mean, I suppose some would say for health reasons it is important, but it's really inaccurate. Like these body fat machines and things and scales are really inaccurate. So I just don't think it's a great tracker of progress. I would just say if you are feeling fitter, if you're getting stronger, if you're feeling like feeling good about yourself, then it doesn't really matter what your body fat percentage is. If you kind of carry a lot of your weight like on your bum or on your boob, then it's going to be skewed anyway. And if you are chested, you're not going to be able to get rid of you're not going to be able to get into what Google might say is a healthy air quotes, a healthy body fat percentage because you're naturally just got big boobs or big bum. So I wouldn't use it as a measure of progress or a measure of health, to be honest. So as long as you are like feeling healthy and strong and fit, I don't care. And like I say, it's really difficult to even measure it accurately. And it's not necessary. I hope that makes sense. Next question. When going into maintenance, really love this question because it's showing that this lady is like looking, so she's currently in a calorie deficit, she's looking forward, she's looking at goals further down the line, long-term goals, long-term results, sustainable, like living a life like this. And I really love that mindset. So going into maintenance, how many workouts should she be doing to maintain her physique? I would say a lot of physique maintenance just come down to your diet more than your workout. But you do need to, obviously, with moving to maintain muscle mass, you also need to be eating a really high protein diet. So it's not just the workouts, it's going to be your food as well. So you want to try and like maintain a quite nice balance. Like that we're creating in terms of like high protein, high fiber meals. Workout wise specifically, I would say like try not to drop below 2 a week. At the moment, I recommend that everyone's doing 3. So most of the girls are trying to push to 4, which is amazing. I wouldn't want you to be doing much like less than 2, really. So just say to 2 to 3, but you probably don't need to be putting as much pressure on yourself to be doing 4. Um, it's obviously you've got your physique goals, but then also just be keeping up your strength and keeping up your general fitness and your health and maintaining your bone density and all those kind of things. Because like if you go on holiday for a couple of weeks or if you have a little break over Christmas, you're going to notice that your strength will feel like it's dropped off a lot. So if you imagine just completely stopping or just going down to one workout when you've been doing 3 or 4, you are going to notice a big dip in your strength. So to maintain it, I'd be saying still 2 to 3, but you don't have to be as strict on the like 3 to 4 mark. Hey, they were all the main questions. I'm going to move on to the struggle. So the first one I've got is struggling with time management and a lack of planning. I know this lady is a mom with 4 children. Time management is obviously going to save her, but if you're someone who is more of a winger than a planner, it's really difficult. What I would say is do your workouts first thing, food when you're already cooking. You don't have to think, I'm going to do meal prep, but if you're already making dinner, you can make a bit extra for your lunch, do that. While you're already in the kitchen, maybe make some overnight oats, like before you kind of settle down for the evening. If you're already like pottering around, try and do a little bit of prep. So it doesn't have to be like really formal, structured. I'm going to batch cook, but if you can do an extra 5 or 10 minutes while you're already in the kitchen to get ahead of the next day, I think that will really help you. And in terms of like lack of planning, like gosh, this is actually like a really difficult question because everyone's really different. So for me, I do have quite a strict workout routine because I find it easier if I know exactly when. So it's almost like my daughter's schedule, like I know when her survey lesson is, I know when her nursery hours are, I know when I know when my husband's got rugby, so I just treat my gym sessions exactly the same. This is when I go to the gym, and it does sometimes vary a little bit each week, but most of the time, like I'm in the gym at the same time each week because I don't like winging it. That's when I end up skipping sessions. So maybe just see it as like an extension of the family schedule rather than something you've got to try and fit in at random times. Okay, next question is about illness. So this lady is doing a little bit poorly and she's still not feeling 100%, which is making her really struggle with motivation. So a couple of things here with the illness, look after yourself, but also there is like a line between looking after yourself and throwing yourself a pity party. So just make sure you don't cross the line. So looking after yourself is a pity party. You'll know when you've gone across the line as a pity party. Try and control what you can control. So it's really hard to do a workout with the family, and I wouldn't recommend it. You're just going to prolong the getting better phase, and you're going to be poorly for longer. Control your food as much as you can. Focus on tracking. Try and do short walks through the day because if you do a long walk, you're going to exhaust yourself. So do more frequent, shorter walks. And with the motivation, you're not going to be motivated if you're poorly. I mean, a lot of us struggle with motivation on the best of days. I think relying on motivation this needs to stop because it is literally a flaky friend. What we need to do is so we're not relying on motivation, we're being disciplined and see your workout as a non-negotiable part of your week, like your kids, like your work meeting, doing the food shop, like dinner. It's just something that happens and it's something that you do for yourself and it's 2 to 3 hours a week. And then once you can do it over time, it'll become easier and easier. It's just practice. I mean, like, we're never motivated to clean out, but we just do it 'cause we know we have to. And I think sometimes, on social media, we all look like we're loving going to the gym, we're loving our workouts, but it's not the case. I've really struggled this week personally, and there are some times where I just don't do it, and I'm just doing it, and I don't even think about it. I'm like a robot. I'm just still and do it. So maybe try not to like overthink it and like feel too deeply about it, and try not to think too deeply about how you should be feeling or like how you should be motivated. You don't actually need to be motivated. You just need to see it as a non-negotiable part of your week. Okay, next question. Well, I've got two that are really similar. One struggle is results being slow to come and scales not moving. The lady who's got scales not moving, she's also put, I might bin them. If the scales are really bothering you, yeah, bin them. Or just put them like in the garage on a lock or something. If you are relying on the scales, you are probably going to be disappointed. You need to be looking at other measures of progress. So how strong you are. And I know the skills getting a ton of TVs. How your clothes are fitting, how you're feeling in yourself, and how you're feeling when you look in the mirror. Maybe do some waist and hip measurements. Like, there's so many better measures of progress than the scales. And I honestly hate the scales. And anyone who's worked with them before or has worked with them now knows I hate them. They fluctuate, especially the females. Fluctuate when you're doing your period. They fluctuate when you're stressed. They fluctuate if you've had plasticity. Like, they fluctuate if you've had a poo. It's just a head fuck, basically. So I would just ignore the scales and try and focus on something else, and maybe choose like two or three other things. So maybe choose a goal in terms of like a strength goal. So say like by the end of we're in the end of September now. So say at the end of October, I'm gonna be lifting X squat, or I'm gonna move up a kilo on bicep, or whatever. I don't know. Choose something and make it an exercise that you really like doing, and give yourself like a timeline. So say by the end of October, or by Halloween. And then do some measurements, some progress photos, and just really think like when you're getting dressed, like how do you feel? How are your jeans feeling? And those kind of things. And also like think about your mood, like are you a better partner because you're looking after yourself? Are you more present with your kids? Yeah, there's so many other things that come from looking after yourself and lifting weights that are not related to the scales. And the thing is, as well, when you're gaining muscle mass, the scales aren't going to move necessarily. Your body's composition might be changing. You might look completely different, and you might weigh the same. Little personal story: weighed the same as I did straight after I had a baby. But I'd lost so much muscle mass. 3 months postpartum, 2 months postpartum. Yeah, 2 to 3 months after I'd had Elodie, and I was going back to the gym. I weighed the same as I do now, and my body composition is completely different. I had no muscle mass left. Well, not no, I had some, but I felt very soft, very squishy, very weak. Struggled to pick up a 10 kilo plate in the gym. I remember it quite clearly. I didn't want to cry. Now I can pick up the 25 kilo plate. Please just get up in the scale. And then the comment or struggle about results supposed to come. I'm going to put this back to you as a question. How long did it take you to be at the point where you realised you wanted to make a change? Because I can bet it wasn't a month. It wasn't a month of eating whatever you wanted to eat and not really doing exercise. It wasn't 2 months. It wasn't 3 months. It is years. And I think this is something that a lot of people get hung up on, and you're really not the first person to say it, and you're never going to be the last. We assume we can get really fast results, and we can, but I don't know why that assumption is there when we don't gain weight that quickly, or we don't lose strength that quickly. We don't get to the point where we want to make change in a matter of a few months, like years of habit. So it is going to take longer than like 6 weeks, 12 weeks. It might be a year, it might be 2 years until you are truly like, oh, yes, I'm banging now. I'm absolutely buzzing. I can just maintain. I'm so happy. But you probably won't ever feel like that because you're like, okay, now I want to deadlift 100 kilos. Now I want to deadlift 150 kilos. Now I want to squat 100 kilos. Like, you're just moving the goalpost. So just think about that next time you think the results supposed to come. Like, how long it took you to get to the point of wanting to join Powerful, and then what you've actually achieved in the few months that you've been in it so far. Because it's a lot. I know it's a lot. I know who's written these questions and struggles. Okay, next question. Got two kind of I know, sorry. Oh, last question. Yeah, I've just written it down in a really long way. I thought it was two questions. It's slash struggle. For non-workout days, for a slow yoga day, if she wants to do some mini workouts, e.g. 10 to 15 minutes on problem areas, can I recommend 2 3 exercises for bum, paddle bags, and bingo wings? But I'll be honest, I had to Google what it's your alpha time. Yes, I can. So we'll start with bum. Bum is your glutes. You all have access to glutes workout. You can go in there, pick some exercises. I'd probably do Romanian deadlift and single leg glute bridge or single leg hip thrust. Also glute, I'd probably pick same that I just said for bum. Also an abductor. So if you're at home, you need a resistance band and do your kicking, standing on, imagine your feet, your one leg is going out to the side and the resistance band is on your ankles. And if you do it in the gym, you would attach the cable to your working leg that's kicking out. That's really good for your glutes as well. And then they're probably the like simplest ones. Any lower body exercise goes stronger, like a squat as well. Reverse lunge, a Bulgarian split squat are going to hit those areas too. And then bingo wings, so you tricep. I would do overhead extension or dips on a bench or a sofa. That's probably the easiest to get home. Like, just do some tricep dips on your sofa. And yeah, probably tricep dips or overhead extension or pull pusher or a narrow, hold the dumbbells tight in and do a narrow bench press on the floor. Do it at home or on a bench in the gym. What I would say is I can tell you what exercises to do for these areas. It's not going to be worth it if you're not lifting heavy enough. The best way to hit these problem areas hard is to make sure your last rep is your last rep and not just your last rep because you can't look at any more reps. Yes, by all means, add in some extra exercises when you've done like a non-workout day, but keep in mind that the best way that you're going to make progress in any area is by actually lifting to fatigue. So what I mean by that is we're doing shoulder press, shoulder press, shoulder press. It's getting a bit heavy, Okay, I'm going to stop now. I've got 12 or 16 or whatever. I want you to be trying to do a shoulder press and not be able to get it up. So if you're doing bench dip for your tricep, I want you to be literally not able to do another one. That is going to be the best way that you change these problem areas. Okay, wow. I do think it's going to take me longer than 20 minutes, so I hope I've covered everything in the detail. If I haven't, please drop me a message if you've got any questions on anything that I've talked about. But I absolutely love those. Really good questions. Good variety as well. So thank you so much.